Mr. Barr, is it true that you are a racist, a rapist, fat, and just a general piece of shit?
Well,
I reclaim my time. How dare you not give me the respect I deserve as a sitting congressperson?
well, I didn't say anything yet.
Do you think that you speaking to me that way is an example of systematic racism? Yes or no?
I don't.
So you're saying racism doesn't exist? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Well, racism is more of a.
Okay, Roger Stone. That's all I have to say to that. Let's just lock him up.
Roger Stone. I'm Steve.
I'm Tom.
And this is Demagogue News with things you need to know about. Episode 45. Pedophile rapists, VPs, and protests.
It's a lot.
A new brand of protein powder. BCAAs, we got energy,
shit.
caffeine, racism, we got it all.
I think I'm just gonna burst out of my skin.
C4 was a joke compared to this. Yeah. That's a lot. That'd be a terrible protein powder.
Oh yeah,
It
would
would
be.
taste like trash. Gasoline, gun.
Destroy your body faster than America's getting destroyed. Holy shit.
Woo!
All right, I'll start things off with a little light notice from our great state of Nevada. Sisolak called a second special session for all of this, and then today, the day it was supposed to happen, he said no.
Oh, it was today?
It was today. It was supposed to be today.
Yeah, because after the announcement of no phases, we're changing things up. There's gonna be a special legislative session to put some rules in the law book so they can actually do them.
Yeah.
That was supposed to be today, and he said, "Never mind."
Yeah, he said. Let me pull up exactly what he said. He said, His spokesperson said that it'll be postponed until.
Oh, he didn't even say it.
No, he didn't. Dude,
The office of Sisolak said it.
Sisolak hates making decisions and speaking to people. That's two of his least favorite things. So he said, it'll resume. It'll happen when he proclaims that he's confident. I don't even know what that means. I don't know if it means self-confidence or he's confident in their ability to.
Come on, Steve. I'm the man. You're the man, Steve.
Yeah, right. He's
Look in
psyching
the mirror.
himself
You're
up
the
in the
man.
bathroom.
Come on.
You're a great governor. You're a great
You don't
governor.
got to do what
Steve.
Gavin does. Come on. You're the man.
So
That's funny.
it's supposedly going to happen either tomorrow or over the weekend. Don't hold your breath on that one.
Government doesn't work on the weekend, so how about next Monday? Maybe.
Maybe
Not.
possibly. He doesn't like dates either.
No.
Or scheduling things.
No, that's great. I mean, it just goes to show the amount of the limelight on every single governor in the United States and how every single state they're getting the feed from their government office, and we just have a shitty one. Because there's some Democratic governors that aren't doing too shitty.
Yeah.
We just have a Democratic governor that's doing crap.
Well, it's because he doesn't like to actually govern.
Yeah, the whole job is to make decisions, and you can't not make decisions. You can't be Jimmy Carter. No one should espouse want to be. You can be Jimmy Carter after his presidency. He did a lot after his presidency, but Jimmy Carter president just did nothing.
Yeah, one-term president.
Just wasted 4 years and let people be hostages. And the campaigner was the one that got him out the second he was nominated president. So don't be Jimmy Carter.
Jimmy Carter.
Jimmy Carter.
So that's Sisolak, but going towards somebody who actually stands for something, William Barr went in front of the House Judicial Committee and was grilled for over 5 hours.
Jesus.
Not allowed a bathroom or meal break during that time either.
This old man couldn't take a piss?
Yeah, dude, his prostate has got to be in bad shape. He's 70.
And why was it? Was it for the Roger Stone?
It was for the
improper
Roger Stone.
judiciarying on the whole Roger Stone case?
Considering Roger Stone got to commute his sentence.
Shouldn't they be yelling at Trump if he's the one who just said no, thank you? You don't have a criminal record. Here you go, Roger Stone. Because that's what happened. He commuted his sentence.
Yeah.
He said, never mind. You don't have to do that.
I think that they thought Barr would be a weak spot because obviously they're not going to get Trump to kneel. So they thought they could go through the attorney general. It was almost like a pre-impeachment thing, and also for the Department of Justice's use of force in Portland. That was another big topic.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
So
what I don't understand, because we had this fun little game that we did for a cold open, but now that I'm reading it, I don't understand how this hearing exactly works. the panel of people were Democrats and Republicans
Mm-hmm.
on this House Judiciary Committee.
Yes.
And it says right here, Barr wasn't allowed to have any extra time at the end of each lawmaker's 5 minutes to respond to questions that witnesses typically receive,
Yeah.
forcing Republicans to use their time to let Barr push back on Democratic accusations. So it's a hearing that is there a verdict at the end of X or Y?
Not really.
Or are they just trying to
no.
get information?
It just seems like they were trying to find cracks because it was literally they were just hurling insults at him and talking trash
him
on this man.
To say the wrong thing or say
Yeah.
something improperly that they could stick on him and say, hey, that's now perjury because you said something
Mhm.
8 months ago that was actually 2 months, not 3 months, and now you committed a felony.
On anything, yeah. So it honestly looked like a classroom where there's a substitute teacher and the kids are all talking shit, and the substitute teacher's like why the fuck am I even here? Like I'm the only adult in the room. Like this is actually a waste of both of our time.
Well, you see, as I see right here, Representative Sheila Jackson Lee
Yeah,
was
she's
trying to
great.
help Barr because he said that racism does not exist in police departments. So Barr is obviously a racist.
Yeah. I mean, Sheila Jackson Lee, she pounces on anything like that.
Yeah.
From a great state of Texas. So, yeah, and let's cover the racial stuff first because
There's
obviously
a lot of racial stuff.
that was
I
fairly
was,
prevalent.
Tom obviously went through more of it than I did, but most of this is racism.
Yeah, like going from like one of the questions that he was asked, and I believe it was by Jackson Lee, was, "Are you and the president going to?" It was a loaded question. It was, "Are you and the president going to actively stop or solve systematic racism in law enforcement?" So automatically you're going with the assumption there's systematic racism in law enforcement.
So the answer is, are you going to fight it or are you going to let it happen?
Yeah, and then he said, essentially, like, if there is any, we would, but I don't think that the system itself is racist. And then she immediately cut him off. And
It's racist. That's racist.
that another congressman asked him, not asked him, more told him, which I thought this was for questioning, but said, "You walked out here with no black people. That in itself is an example of systematic racism."
Because the people he brought into the hearing weren't black?
Yes.
But I'm assuming that's his legal team afforded to him by the Office of the Attorney General to be with him, or...
I mean, I'm assuming they were hand selected, but
Right.
regardless, I'm sure he selected them based on their
being
talent.
good.
And that they were on his side, which is kind of a rarity for African Americans to back a Republican attorney general.
So that means, well, obviously all Republicans are racist, Tom. This is a
That's
non
why they both
sequitur.
start with ours.
Yeah. Well, I'm not surprised, but I'd never understood, like, because the other hearing we're going to talk about
Mhm.
is a hearing of the big four technology companies that had
Yeah.
an antitrust hearing
Mhm.
just recently. And what I don't understand is that nothing is being, like, they're just trying to get information,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
You know, get evidence, get information. And these people, I mean, so these companies was Jeff Bezos, Tim Cook.
Yeah. Whoa, are you going into it right now? I have
No,
a
no.
lot of stuff on bar.
What I don't understand is that all these four people voluntarily came to speak. Just as Attorney Barr, he wasn't. Was he court mandated? He must appear to this hearing.
I think Congress subpoenaed him.
Oh, so he had to go.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you don't let him talk.
No, it was just like
And then you just yell at him.
yeah, it was a lot of yelling at him.
But there's no verdict that puts you in jail at the end.
Mm-mm.
They just say, "Okay, now you're free to go. Thank you very much for your time."
I don't think they would thank him. I think they were
Well, the thing you say is, "Thank you for so much."
get
yeah.
out of here.
Yeah, get the fuck out of here. Why is the real question I have? Why?
I think they were probing for a weak spot because also like impeachment was brought up. It was like everything that had happened under
under
the
his
Trump
tenure?
not even under his tenure. A lot of it was like Jeff Sessions' tenure or like Whitaker's tenure. So and I wish that William Barr was the attorney general for all of Trump's administration because before I just saw him as he's kind of a straight shooter kind of guy, but I like him a lot more after watching how he dealt with all of this bullshit.
I'm sure he knows how the game is played at this point.
Yeah, I mean he's he's been around in federal politics
he's
since
no
the
village
Reagan
idiot.
administration. So, let me see here. He one of the funnier questions was that he it was more of an accusation. Like most of these questions aren't really questions. That he was too partisan Meanwhile, Eric Holden, the Attorney General under Obama, called himself blatantly like, yeah, I'm Obama's wingman. I got his back. So Barr's response was, does it like surprise you that I'm a Republican?
I like the Republican guy because I too
Yeah.
am Republican.
It's like, you donated throughout your life $77,000 to the Republican Party. He's like, yeah, I did.
I thought it was a little less, but sorry, I guess I was. Got out of hand in the 90s, trying to beat Clinton.
Like another shitty one was about, like, for some reason healthcare came in. He said, like, listen, like, I'm sympathetic. I have 2 daughters who are like cancer survivors, and like,
But what would it be under his jurisdiction?
exactly, like this stuff
He's
was
the
just all over
he's a
the
legal
place.
man. He's the top legal man of the country, right?
All over the place. It was like kind of ridiculous, and they would like talk shit. You would start to answer, and then they would reclaim their time, which you are not allowed to. You're only allowed to do that if you allow another congressperson to speak while it's your allotted time. So you can't do that when
To take away the witness's time to speak.
Yes, exactly.
Wouldn't the attorney general know that and just keep speaking, or would he be held
There
in
were
contempt?
points in time when he was like speaking at the same time.
Yeah, just keep speaking.
But I think most of the time he's just like, all right, fine. Like, if you want to talk over me, like, I don't really give a shit.
Just
Like, I don't want to
fuck
be
you, I
here. And another one, I'm trying to remember who said it. It might have been like, no, it definitely wasn't Zoe Lofgren, but she's terrible. You are not giving me the respect that I deserve as a congressperson. It's like, you're not respecting him as the attorney general.
I think the attorney general is higher than
Yes.
a congressperson, man or woman,
Yep.
unless you're like the minority whip or something.
Mm-hmm.
Some actual status, or a senior, no freshman, congressman. So we got to be there for a while before people give a That sounds dumb, Tom.
It was really dumb. I guess like just for the third act of this little breakdown of it, considering we talked about race, crime and the riots also were a big
I
part
saw,
of it.
yeah.
So Barr's point when he was talking about Black Lives Matter, he said the leading cause of death among young black males, is homicide. 90% of the time from another black person, and it's 7,500 a year. So he asked, like, don't their lives matter too? So
That's racist. Can't point those out.
yeah, I guess not.
Because abolish STEM. Because STEM and data is racist,
Yeah.
as we know.
And then on top of that, like, they were trying to chide him. Obviously, he's a religious man too, with certain like churches, like I think the Archdiocese of like Seattle and like a couple other like Episcopal church, which I believe Barr himself is Episcopal, like condoned the protest. And he asked, like, was that before or after they tried to torch the courthouse?
Right, exactly. Yeah, before they were doing, wildly criminal acts to the government. Like, come on.
Yeah.
I think even the Quran doesn't like arson. I think it's
I think it's kind of a universal
it's a universal thing. Don't burn down anybody else's shit.
And he asked the Judiciary Committee, can we all agree that it's bad to destroy federal courthouses? And it was just crickets.
Oh, he threw it out to see where they're gonna land, and they just refused to answer. Just
yeah. So not
I'm not very surprised because they must be on both sides at all times. So
Yeah, you can't
play both sides.
Yeah.
They have their decided side. They can't say like, oh yeah, that's bad. But I thought you said Black Lives Matter. Well, it does, but also you shouldn't burn down a courthouse. So you don't care about Black Lives Matter, obviously. You care about property more than people's lives.
It's like these weird false equivalents.
Well, it's all causation correlation. If you believe in this, you must. It's poor like analytical philosophy about vocabulary. Oh, you must believe in this. You believe in that. Like, no, but no,
that's not how it works.
That's not how it works. You don't do that here.
Like, you have to, like, there's these certain commandments that they must follow, and if you break rank, you are a heretic.
Well, it's more like it's a pyramid where there's all these things, and like the obvious ones are on top.
Mm-hmm.
But if you break any bottom rank, the whole thing falls apart, and you're a bad person. So you got to be perfect at all times, from even the biggest to the smallest things.
It's very stressful.
It's got to be stressful to be liberal.
I would
really stressful.
Much rather be Donald Trump than a Democratic congressperson.
And just don't give a damn about
yeah,
shit.
they just say whatever.
Oh, little Rocket Man? I know that guy. Fuck that dude. Fuck you, Obama. Fuck you, Xi Jinping. Fuck yeah, tariffs. Ha! But you're not getting away with this, China. China, you're not getting away with this. Yeah.
So that was a waste of time for every party involved.
And, how many people were there, judiciary?
I want to say it's 14.
14. They get paid $1.75 a year.
Mm,
So that's like making 50. They make about $90 an hour, $100 an hour.
nice.
So 14 times 5, so that's 80. That's $8,000 just on hourly,
Yeah.
just to pay them. Yeah.
That's a good usage of
That's
taxpayer
nice.
dollars.
Let alone the building, the lights, and attorney. General. How much does he cost?
Yeah, I don't know how much Barr makes personally.
But he didn't work for 5 hours, so we
Mhm.
have lost wages on that
Yeah.
because he made no profit or any improvement.
Yeah, when's he gonna get a stimulus check?
So that was like a $20,000 waste of time.
Yeah, it was trash.
Oh well.
So definitely the more interesting of the two hearings was the antitrust committees.
Yeah, these happened at the same time, and that was kind of weird. But the largest companies in the world right now,
Yeah,
for
four of them,
for technology,
definitely.
the big four, which are Amazon, Apple, Google, and Facebook,
Mhm.
were all virtually subpoenaed to a hearing to talk about antitrust, and that doesn't come up very often.
No, not a whole lot in the past century.
Not a lot in the past century.
Like Tim Cook, Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, and what's his name? Pichai, Sundar Pichai
Sundar, that's
of
right.
Alphabet.
Who owns Google?
So they're Skyping them, and obviously, like everything else in American politics, it was along party lines. The Democratic Congress people were more concerned with the actual monopolies, and Republicans were more concerned with these companies censoring conservative ideals.
Now, the first part is, I'm surprised that Jack Dorsey wasn't there.
That will definitely come up a little bit later, but yeah, I was also surprised that Dorsey wasn't there.
Because we're both thinking of the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that one I was surprised I didn't hear. I haven't heard anything about it since, other than some small articles saying that it happened and some updates.
Yeah,
But I mean, they've been talking about antitrust on Facebook for a while
they have been.
because they've bought so many other social media companies.
Yeah, like
Like
WhatsApp and Instagram mainly.
Right, and WhatsApp is huge internationally.
Mm-hmm.
It's not very big here in the United States, but it's massive internationally. And Instagram is second to Facebook.
I think the last time I checked, it was first as far as like social media sites
for
used.
use?
Instagram is first.
So Facebook has first and second. I don't know. Facebook's big, bro.
Yeah, they're huge.
But that means they own first and second, which is like 30%, 40% of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody else is just getting, as big as Twitter is. Twitter is like 9%, 8% market share for social media. It's not a lot.
Mm-mm. Like Facebook advertisements, like that's big money right there.
Oh, big money, yeah.
The one bipartisan thing though from all of this was China. Like they were curious about like Chinese
influence
stealing intellectual property as well, and out of the three of them at least, Apple, Amazon, and Google, they got high stakes in China. So they're like, oh, I'm not aware of it. Like I've never heard of.
I'm not aware
yeah,
of it.
I'm not aware of it. I'm not like familiar with it. Basically.
Did Sidar say that? 'Cause that's
Yes,
impossible.
he did.
He said that.
He said it
That's straight.
blatantly. It was a bold-faced lie.
Are they under oath on these hearings?
Yes.
That's perjury, bro.
It is.
There's a legit quote of Google CEOs talking about how they must work with China because if they don't, they're gonna steal it anyways.
Which is a terrible argument. But
So we might the argument is we might as well work with them so they know what we're doing because we're good patriots and we'll tell the United States what that evil big bad China's doing.
yeah, okay.
Okay, you're right. Okay, you private citizen.
Yeah, okay.
Do whatever you want.
However, Zuck was very blatant. He said, yes, it's well documented that China is stealing intellectual property.
Like all the fucking time.
Yeah. Noted Zuckerberg has the least stake in China, considering Facebook isn't allowed in China.
Exactly. I'm sure Zuck would love to be in China.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure he would give a
money
very
to be
different
made.
answer.
So the fact that they've probably stolen Facebook and have, whatever the 10-cent equivalent is, that is a social media type website that's like Facebook.
Yeah.
They've probably stolen half of it anyways.
Definitely. I bet you anyway it's identical to Facebook aside from name.
And color.
Yeah.
Probably not blue and white.
Maybe red and yellow.
Right, exactly. Perfect. They're eating at the stars right in the corner.
So let me go over like some of this. Also, one brief note, because Steve and I alluded to this. Zuckerberg was questioned about Twitter censoring Donald Trump Jr., which
Well, it's not only censored, they took it down.
yeah, they took him down.
Right.
The only problem with that, and this is the problem with having a bunch of boomers talking about like internet and app.
They have no idea what the fuck they're talking about, do they?
Yeah, so Zuckerberg's like, I'm sure that's a better question for Jack Dorsey. It's like, I don't own Twitter.
What do you know about
Yeah.
Samsung? I run Apple. I don't know anything about Samsung. And I also believe they're from Taiwan, so
Yeah, well, they're Korean.
They're
South
Korean, so
yeah.
not really have the jurisdiction to ask. Like I don't, but me and fucking Samsung don't chat every
Yeah,
day.
it's like, I know Jack Dorsey, but I don't.
I
That's
hung out with them a couple times.
a much more appropriate question for him.
That's funny. They couldn't even conflate the difference.
Mm-mm. Well, it was Congressman Sessenberger. He's a Republican, but yeah, like I'm sure this dude's like a super boomer, like doesn't really understand social media.
Email. Wow.
Yeah. Where are your emails? So for Facebook, considering we're still on Zuck, it's the main like allegations towards them was threatening other social media companies to sell to them by
That was the
Yeah.
one thing with Facebook is they might have been pressured to. Instagram was pressured to sell,
Mhm.
or they just ruin Instagram.
Which, I mean, that is kind of like how it works in a free market, though. They wanted to like create like something to compete against Instagram.
Right.
You know, same thing with WhatsApp. Like they were creating these technologies.
They have more incentive to use because I think the number one thing that is similar to that is Walmart back in the 90s.
Mhm.
Walmart started running a loss. Like they were just loss leaders for a while just to burn out all the other grocery stores and then just go back to normal.
Yeah.
Well, they have all the money in the world. They can do that. It's not illegal to be cheaper than everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not illegal to lose money.
Yeah. Facebook's got way deeper pockets.
Right. Than with what Instagram used to have.
Mm-hmm.
Right. When they were their own company. Like, it's not illegal to be cheaper. And it's not illegal to buy a different company.
Yeah.
So that's, I think, or I agree, like, there's no any trust because it's not bad.
Yeah. It's just kind of how the game is played.
It's
I'm not saying
capitalism.
it's right or wrong.
Right.
So that's the main thing against Facebook. So Apple's was based on apps.
Right. Yeah. It was app percentage commissions.
Yeah. If
Yeah.
you are not making an app for Apple, let's say you're an independent app maker, third party, what have you, they will charge you like 30% of your proceeds that you make on Apple Marketplace. Now, if you are a small independent like company, you can't take that hit. Like your overhead is probably fairly high.
Well, I remember from reading on it is that they're using that against companies so Apple can make their own version of the app and not lose that 30%. Because Spotify gets because every time you pay through your phone for Spotify,
Yeah.
Apple gets $3 out of the $10 that you pay. So now,
Yeah.
Spotify only gets $7, and they gotta pay 40 billion fucking music
it's-
makers with that $7.
It's not a good system, for them.
But I think that the irony is that Microsoft is always software and Apple's always hardware.
Yeah.
Well, they own the hardware and the software. You want to be on our hardware, it costs that kind of money.
Yeah. Like it's pay to play basically.
Right, it's just pay to play because if I upload to Android is bigger internationally, but Apple's bigger in the United States.
Mhm.
That's where most of the money is.
So, and on top of that, Apple was using data from the apps, like the stats and whatnot, to make their own versions of certain apps to compete with the apps that were already paying.
Exactly. So they use
Very shady.
all their R&D that they've collected over a year or so.
Uh-huh.
Like, well, they're doing this wrong and that wrong because we could see it. Let's make the same app that doesn't do those mistakes. And I mean, they built the umbrella. They built the whole framework of what everyone's building on top of.
Mm.
So I think the argument is: are they allowed to charge that much? Are companies entitled to use Apple's infrastructure?
They aren't. They can choose to use Android. It's just we're in a unique scenario, and I guess it's kind of again like you were comparing it to Walmart, like where you create the marketplace and you are also a competitor in the marketplace that you created.
So are you allowed to do that? That's the question.
Yeah, that is the question. I mean, they created the marketplace,
And they've been doing it for a while.
Yeah.
It's kind of how the game goes.
Mm-hmm.
If there are limits on how much they could charge, that's kind of weird. Can you limit how much profit someone's allowed to make?
See, I don't like that either.
Yeah.
And Amazon was accused of doing the exact same thing on their site, but with like material goods.
Oh, Amazon's been doing that for years. I
Yeah, they
remember
have
hearing that
been.
for years. Is that if there's a really successful hot product, they'll just like on the back end find your manufacturer and sell it as a loss lead until you stop going out of business and they replace it with your business.
And they have all the data from what you were selling on
you
Amazon.
use their platform to do it. Yeah, I remember years ago hearing about that for Amazon. I'm sure that they did that for years.
Definitely, 100%.
I mean, they've already murdered the book industry
mm-hmm.
because they can sell a book for a penny of profit because that's all they need to make is 1 penny of 1% of profit on top of the book. Barnes & Noble needs to make 12%,
Mm-hmm.
if they want to stay open, but Amazon needs 1%. So, and also, I don't have to go to Barnes & Noble, and it just comes to my house anyways. I don't know. It just
Convenience.
I think it goes to show, especially with like the coronavirus, like what industries are actually valuable or doable. Now, Amazon's making more than ever.
Yeah, I mean, Amazon certainly didn't get get shafted by any sense of the
No.
image. Yeah, and they did allude to an instance where Amazon purposefully shut down like another book manufacturer, and when asked about it, Bezos was like, "Oh, well, that was so long ago. I don't recall the details."
I remember like it wasn't great. I'm sorry. Like it was 15 years ago. Fuck,
I don't
remember.
fucking know.
That's
and then
funny.
last but certainly not least was Google, who has the most to lose out of any of them, because they have out of any of them, Google has the biggest like monopoly search engine.
So yeah, what you're gonna use Ask Jeeves?
Yeah, use Bing. Okay. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh Yahoo.
Yeah,
Real cute.
right. So, also with using other people's data, Google blatantly ripped reviews from Yelp for their own like Google reviews and stuff. Like when you Google a place, like
They just pull off a Yelp.
they pulled it off of Yelp, and then when Yelp was like, "Hey, this is kind of messed up. That's for us." Google was like, "All right, we'll box you out. Like, we won't have you appear in searches if you like threaten us in any way legally." And Yelp backed down, obviously, because they can't beat Google.
Yeah, you can't be, and also you need Google because when I type in sushi restaurant, I want to see the Yelp review.
Yeah.
So you're fucked.
Google is a juggernaut when it comes to advertising too. Like, you can pay to have your stuff show up on Google. Like, they're pretty much the kingmaker.
They are probably the king of ads. And Facebook's probably not that far behind anymore, but
not at
Google
all.
also, Alphabet is the company, is the parent company is the holding company that holds everything. YouTube advertisements, it's just ginormous. AdSense is the largest thing that makes Google money, and it's companies that pay to have them on Google, basically.
Yeah. And on top of that, another one of the questions that was asked was about censoring certain YouTube channels that had conservative content, and they were getting either shut down or demonetized.
Well, Steve Molyneux was just banned. That was hilarious.
Stefan Molyneux?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's his Molyneux? Like, that's the other Molyneux. Molyneux, I think the one that you mentioned is the dude who made Fable. Steve Molyneux. But then Stefan Molyneux is like an alt-right.
Yeah, but his YouTube channel is just taken down. It's just
Yeah.
like, yo, what the heck?
I mean, yeah, I don't agree with anything that Molyneux says, but it's kind of like messed up to take somebody.
Yeah, because it's
down.
not the status quo, which is basically what's been happening for the past couple of years.
Yeah, it has been, and these very murky like guidelines that they don't blatantly say, but it's like, oh yeah, well, it violates our policy. It's like, well, can you point specifically to where in your policy?
Yeah, where'd they go wrong?
Yeah, that's where it becomes tricky.
Yeah, tricky dick.
Tricky dick. Also, Google was I think they were fined money in Europe for like boxing out other like search engine like possible search engines in
They
Europe.
got fined in the EU about this.
So it definitely leaves them like big tech as a whole like bruised, but definitely like certainly not broken.
They're
by
definitely
any
not
means.
broken. There is no U.S. steel is gonna break up into X, Y, and Z. Facebook isn't like what would Facebook break into? They have to sell Instagram to somebody else.
I don't know. See,
You have to.
that's another great
so
question
what's
that you have. Like, it's just these industries are all very different too. There's not like a blanket approach that you can take to all of them.
Does Apple need to sell the phone portion but keep the computer portion?
Yeah, it's
You can't have the apps. Like what wouldn't be part of the Apple? Like Google has to sell YouTube.
that's
What does that even mean?
See, to me, I don't like it, and I'm not saying that I agree with a lot of these companies' decisions, but at the same time, they know how to make money and they employ people. I don't want people who have never built a business and who have never employed anyone
Tell
to
people.
dictate
Right.
any of this. So honestly, I'm taking big tech on this one. I never thought I would be defending like Mark Zuckerberg and
Right.
like Jeff Bezos, but like those guys at least like are engines of the economy, and these cocksuckers in like in Congress do not. They
Yeah.
take money from the American taxpayer.
I'll bet you good money every single person on that has taken money from one of those four.
Definitely.
You think Google doesn't lobby or Facebook doesn't lobby
Ha,
or
ha.
pay someone?
This guy's got
Yeah.
jokes.
Yeah. So the irony is that they probably are all looking at all these people like, don't I pay these people to not fuck with me?
Oh yeah, dude. Bezos.
My
is
name
gonna
is Jeff
have a
Bezos.
field
I'm the
day.
richest fucking person in the world. I pay someone $1 billion a year to move my money around to pay these fucking people. Why am I here?
And I'm sure that's what he was thinking. It's his
Yeah.
first time ever in front of Congress.
What the
He's
fuck
like,
am I doing? I pay good money to leave me alone. But, crony capitalism. That's what I'm doing here. And it was Jeff Bezos. Like, what the fuck? Yeah. Oh, well.
Yeah, so we'll see, because now the real footwork begins. They're going to use what they've quote unquote gathered from
Right.
these hearings to possibly make legislation or propose legislation based on it. I honestly, it's very weird because Steve and I were talking about this before recording, that antitrust really hasn't been invoked since the time of Teddy Roosevelt.
Yeah, it's a long time.
So it ended with the congressman invoking names like Carnegie and Rockefeller, but
J.P. Morgan.
Yeah. But the names changed, but the story remains the same, and it's kind of hard to make that argument.
And back then, it was a simpler time.
It was.
Because even today, where did Facebook come from? Some dork in Harvard had a clever website for to have people in Harvard be able to date each other.
Mm-hmm.
Small thing. And it costs no money. He didn't create it. He didn't require other employees. He just did it by himself. Jeff Bezos thought it'd be clever to sell books online. The Google guys, like, internet was brand new and it was a new dimension. Apple, he invented computers with, the competition of Microsoft. It's not like steel production was different in the late 1800s, early 1900s, but all these companies just came together to make more money and then exclude everybody else.
Yeah.
Facebook isn't trying to stop people from making cool shit on the internet or make cool new technology. In fact, they spend billions of dollars a year to make new technology. So I don't know. I think it can't relate that to the same because technology is so much different than physical goods.
The economy is very different. It's a much more globalized economy.
Right. Because also, 3 out of 4 of them don't make anything.
Mm-hmm.
Apple makes stuff, but
Yeah.
Google doesn't make anything. Facebook doesn't make anything. And
Amazon selectively does, depending
Amazon-
on the market.
Amazon makes bullshit. They don't make anything real.
Yeah, but they ship stuff.
Right.
Like, it's different.
They're all infrastructure.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't break up infrastructure because that means it'd be worse. So I think big tech's going to be fine. Who's not going to be fine? Joe Biden's not going to be fucking fine.
He hasn't been fine for a while.
No, it's been a couple of years since he's been pretty fine.
You want to go into that?
Joe Biden.
Drip.
Joe Biden, I don't know how he fucked up. He mistakenly said the wrong place again on a rally or an interview. He said the wrong place again because it doesn't know where he's at. And then somebody on his staff fucked up and gave information to Politico, who also fucked up, and named Kamala Harris as Joe Biden's vice president.
Personally, I would like to say I'm excited. I called this
You
in a
called
very,
it
very early
months ago.
episode.
Months ago you called it, which was quite impressive, I must say. But apparently his decision must be made, quote unquote, by August 1st, which is in 2 days. So is it really a leak? It's been 2 days.
I mean, we'll see. I'm saying she's not locked in until it's official, like at the DNC, the Democratic National Convention.
Officially, yeah.
That being said, do I think she's a bad choice? Yes.
Absolutely.
100%. She can only hurt Joe Biden.
What's the worst thing going on right now? Is it protesting against police?
Mm-hmm.
What was Kamala Harris's career for like 30 years?
Oh, just law.
Just law. Just like, being able to controlling the precincts of Los Angeles and convicting people of crimes. Specifically black people of crimes.
Yeah,
of
specifically
marijuana.
nonviolent
Nonviolent
drug
marijuana
crimes.
drug crimes. that was revealed about 7 months ago, and she immediately dropped out of the race after that happened.
Yeah, it's just like she's been a DA, she's been an attorney general, like a state attorney general.
She's been in the judicial system for a hot minute.
Yeah, and for her to not be able to take Tulsi Gabbard destroying her like on a debate stage, how is she gonna fare when everyone's attacking her?
And that was the one time Tulsi ever opened her mouth and said something really good.
Yeah,
Other people have said really clever things against each other, but Tulsi, that was her only really good one.
In the debates, yeah.
Because they ousted her out pretty quickly because they didn't like that.
Yeah,
they torched her.
Toe the line.
She torched the Golden Girl and made everybody very angry.
Yeah, because Kamala came out of the first debate very well. Like, she probably won it, in my opinion, but it was very rehearsed. And I think that when Tulsi came out of left field and knocked her down...
She didn't know how to stand up again.
Yeah, she's not versatile on a debate stage. And I can only imagine that'll be worse for the one debate where she would have to go against Mike Pence, who is a polished orator.
Polished. Very good speaker. Yeah.
So Kamala, also she insinuated that Joe Biden was a racist, which is not a good look for the guy who you're going to be the VP for.
Racist and proud.
Yeah.
Biden Harris, 2020.
For the school busing, because Joe Biden was against it back in the day. So I don't think
he was
you're
against
racist.
public school bus.
No, he was against busing in like black kids to white schools back in the day.
Oh, ew, integration, terrible. Joe, you're right.
Well, I mean, his logic behind it at the time was it would cause like white flight, or like people to like leave certain school districts, and then what you would get is just a school district
it's
like,
all black again.
All black again, yeah.
Oh, but it's just in a different area.
Which did actually happen, but that's another topic. So that's, I don't know. Like
honestly, that's the most interesting thing to come out of the Biden campaign in weeks, if not months.
Because I've been speculating on some of the other ones here, and like I'm looking over, I'm like, wow, this is not a deep bench, because the Democrats pigeonholed themselves into has to be woman of color.
Of color was another one?
They say woman of color. That's what they said.
But I thought it was a woman, just a woman.
No,
it was the Biden
it's woman of color.
Wow.
So woman of color, and guess what? People expect that color to be black. So, and I was looking at like top picks, like black women in American politics. Obviously, Stacey Abrams was thrown around, who has only been a state senator. So for her to suddenly, because Joe Biden's not long for this world, for her to go from state senator to president of the United States is a gargantuan leap. So there's Abrams, who couldn't even win a gubernatorial race. Val Demings from
I don't know who that is.
Congresswoman from Florida. She's one of the impeachment managers. However, she has 24 years in law enforcement. She was a cop.
Oh, that's even worse. She had boots on the ground.
She was a cop.
Oh.
So that would normally be a good thing, but it's
she
2020.
Kicked so many Cuban asses it wasn't even funny.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Who else do I have? Susan Rice, the former UN ambassador under Obama, former security ambassador under Obama.
Is that Condi's sister or something?
No. Yeah, very ironic, though.
Black woman named Rice in politics?
Just a bit. In foreign policy, no less.
I know. That's amazing, honestly.
Yeah, so she has a good repertoire with Joe Biden. Only problem is that she has never run for office, ever.
Oh, so no one knows who the fuck she is the problem.
Yeah, like no name recognition, doesn't know how to campaign.
Oh, she's only worked in like high-level government. Like,
she's only worked
positions.
under the Department of State, and then later on,
right.
UN
and just sat in that same position, which is fine if that is your career, but like, it's not if you want to be president.
And then like the last one I had, this bench is not deep. Karen Bass, Democrat, California. She's progressive, but she's like very progressive, like as in like praising Castro progressive.
Well, I mean, you missed out on Bernie, so that's the same thing.
That's the thing, though. Biden won on a campaign of moderacy.
Well, and that's going down the drain very quickly.
Yeah, it has been.
Because as the left wants more and more leftness, he has to stray away from being moderate to appease the mob.
Which is not a good general election strategy.
No, usually you want to get the other guys because you know the left's going to vote for you. That's the idea.
Yeah, it is.
You need to get the other guys on your team because you need more of them. But hey, whatever.
Yeah, so that was, there were some other names on there. Like I think Tammy Duckworth, Congresswoman from Illinois. She's Asian American, but
there you go. Her name is Tammy Duckworth.
Yeah, Tammy Duckworth lost 2 legs in Iraq.
Oh, disabled
veteran. But that being said, I'm sure that there would be a lot of outrage if he were to pick like an Asian woman as opposed to a black woman. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, Asians, they're basically white.
That Tammy lady doesn't sound like a bad idea, actually.
Tammy Duckworth, I mean, she's super anti-Trump too, and that's a positive thing.
It's a good thing for
him.
Democrats.
Yeah.
Like, no Trump is good.
Yeah. I honestly don't think she's going to get the nod.
Yeah.
A lot more black Americans than Asian Americans.
That is true. And a lot of Asian Americans like to vote Republican, so.
Right.
Ramp.
Sucks.
Ghetto Kamal. I'm glad to see her back. I kind of missed her for a minute.
Yeah, I miss her saying women of color. That's like her response to every question. Like, oh, we just need to get houses in the hands of women of color.
Speaking of people of color, Zimbabwe.
What about them?
Remember that time when the wonderful Mugabe?
Oh, dude, rest in peace.
Awesome guy. Good guy.
Pretty good guy.
Pretty good guy. About, I think, 8 years ago now, he basically appropriated all white land in Zimbabwe and gave it to black people in Zimbabwe because that was theirs before it was stolen by the colonists back in the day. And unfortunately, what they didn't do is teach those people how to farm. Because it's not like you just put stuff in the ground and it grows. Yeah. Farming is it's an engineering marvel at this point. Mm-hmm. It's not easy. And you're feeding a nation, not yourself. Yeah. So Zimbabwe immediately started starving. They needed money from the UN. People were at this point hunting rats, and there's no food. Holy shit. He needed a loan like $8 billion from the UN, the IMF fund. It all went down the drain. Well, just recently, Zimbabwe has just officially declared that they will pay white farmers or their descendants. They're not alive because this is not alive anymore. Maybe $3.5 billion for them to come back and take their land back and start growing food.
Oh wow, that is weird.
Now I don't know if it's Zimbabwean dollars or U.S. dollars or
Bitcoin, I don't know.
British pounds.
Yeah, have you?
They're calling for white people to come back to their farms.
Did they specifically say white people?
White people that. Capital W white people, I must say.
Trying to get some land in Zimbabwe homes.
Well, our parents didn't lose any land in Zimbabwe. It's literally for those people or their descendants to come back, and they only get 50% for the first year because actually Zimbabwe doesn't have $3.5 billion to begin with.
That seems like that's a terrible plan.
There's not enough money in the vault.
I'll pay you when we get it.
Yes, well, I'll pay you half. Because all I got's half, but you give me until the 14th. To get some money together, I'll pay the rest.
Boy, that's a mess. In the words of the venerable AOC, it is better to be morally right than factually right. So it was don't get me wrong, like I think it was good that he was trying to put land in the hands of Zimbabwean citizens, but at the same time, if you can't do anything with it, what is it worth?
Also, you stole it.
Yeah.
You stole it. It's still happening right now in South Africa. It's like they're reappropriating white people's land that you're stealing it.
South Africa's borderline like failed state. Like it's gonna go under.
I thought there was gonna be a drought last year, the year before. Like they had weeks of water left. I don't know what happened there, but
it's all like a wreck, man. Like Jacob Zuma is a terrible, terrible leader.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
actually another interesting thing. Ghana versus Egypt.
In what?
The Nile River. Ghana wants to build a
Ghana's
dam.
Not
downhill. Is it Ghana?
From
No,
is it Tanzania?
Tanzania, Egypt versus somebody.
Ghana's on like the other side of the continent.
Oh, Ethiopia. It's Ethiopia.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Yeah. They want to build a dam and dam up the Nile for Ethiopia and let it all dry out from Egypt.
Oh man.
And if Egypt's only there because the Nile exists. Mm-hmm. So we might have a interesting like Rhodesia happen.
Uh-oh. Yeah. Well, if you're an arms dealer, payday.
All right. Move to Ethiopia. Start selling some stuff.
Yeah, that's a sticky situation. The Nile has been a point of contention for like
thousands of years. Let's be honest.
Yeah, thousands of years. And like when I first started paying attention to global politics as a teenager, that was still like the dam situation.
Egypt.
No matter which country it was, south of Egypt, like that was always like going to be something.
Who was the president for the Egyptian Spring?
You mean
Bashar
Mubarak?
Assad? Mubarak. That's what it is.
Houthi Mubarak.
Yeah. It's always sucked about the Nile. It's always about the Nile.
Yeah, always.
Well, life runs on the Nile. Got anything else, Tom? What else you got?
I mean, on my end, not really. I guess we ended things on a pretty depressing note last time. Like, that was actually a sad
Yeah,
episode.
it was pretty sad. Most of our podcasts nowadays are ending on a downward slope.
Yeah. No
I mean,
bueno.
I think on the last one I have right here is Trump wants to delay the election.
Oh, yeah.
That's my favorite. That he actually said maybe we should have it later because I don't believe
He
mail-in voting.
actually said that shit.
Mail-in voting is fraudulent.
Which
We
is-
need to delay the election
It's
until
just
we
it's,
can affirm that people can vote.
it's ammo for his opponent. He needs somebody to kick him off Twitter. He just keeps saying dumb shit.
Because how do you get a fascist state? This is actually how you get a fascist
Yeah.
state. No voting. That's how you actually slow down.
Let's just delay it.
Just delay it. It's just for a short period of time
Yeah.
while we'll capture supreme power. I won't do anything wrong with it. Trust me. Frankly,
Yeah.
I'm the most trustworthy person. That's my favorite. Like, oh, you're going to delay the election. That's never happened ever.
Yeah,
There was an election in the middle of World War II.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just a huge political misstep, but that's kind of what like Trump is known for.
So what's more important, elections or COVID?
Elections to me.
Elections.
I think if you should mail in vote if you are afraid for your health, and if you're not, like, because it would take weeks to count in mail in votes.
So. I think we're both saying is that the infrastructure for everybody to vote should be there on November 3rd.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
And if you're too scared to vote, you can mail in vote.
Mm-hmm.
But most everybody else should wear a mask
Yeah,
and
like
go fucking vote.
I'm gonna go mail in vote.
Oh yeah,
I mean, not going in mail in vote. That sounds like an oxymoron. No, I'm gonna vote in person. Are
yeah,
you
go
kidding
vote.
me?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, what? So yeah, none of that.
Yeah.
And I'd also like to say, rest in peace, Herman Cain.
Herman Cain.
Yeah,
Of the Rona, maybe.
Yeah, maybe of the Rona. That's always suspect. He was susceptible. He was 74 years old
Yeah.
and a survivor of colon cancer, so his immune system
Oh,
wasn't
okay.
exactly
Didn't know that.
prime. He'd gone to the Trump rally in Tulsa,
Trump murdered Herman
Yeah.
Cain. Trump's a racist.
possibly. Possibly. No. He was a former CEO of Godfather Pizza. I was a big fan of his flat
Godfather
tax.
pizza, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
So, I was a fan of his flat tax that he proposed when he was running for president in 2012. So, I got to say, his rest in peace, Herman Cain.
Yeah, Herman Cain. Good guy.
Yeah, good guy.
Good guy.
And you got anything else, Steve?
I think that's about it. This is a good one.
Yeah, it was.
It was.
And if you're listening, life isn't terrible.
Life is not terrible. Remember that. Life isn't terrible. Yeah. Well, it's Demagogue News. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, maybe. Keep your head in the swivel.
Definitely.